Thank you all for joining us today, and we hope you will join us again next week. To stay updated on AGJC events, please follow us on Twitter at Gulf Jewish and visit our website at www.gulfjewish.org. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom. And now, as we begin, we'll hand it over to Sue, who's going to light candles for us this week.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you so much, Sue. And now over to Avi, who's going to lead us in Yedid Nefesh.
Thank you. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman Meshoch Avdecha El Ritzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayal Ishtachave Muladarecha Ki Yerav Lo Yedidotecha Minof Etzu Fecholtam Adur Nae Ziva Olam Nafshi cholat havatecha, ana el narefa nala, be'arat la noam zivecha, az titchazek v'tikrape, v'aita la simchat olam, v'tik yehemuna, rachamecha, v'chusana al ben uvecha, ki ze kama nechsof nechsafti, lirot betiferet uzecha, anai lechem dali bichusana ve'al titalam igale igalena ufrosh chavivi alai et sukat shelomecha ta'ir eretz mikvadecha Nagila v'nismecha bach Maherehov ki ba'moed V'chanenu ki me'olam.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Avi. Hi, Avi from
Hello.
Israel.
Oh, shalom from Israel. Hi.
Shalom.
Excellent. Thank you.
Zika, your cousin, and your sister is just coming. She's visiting us. Sila. Hi, Sila. Hi.
Wonderful.
Hi, Fami.
Hi.
Excellent.
So funny.
Well, we're happy you're all joining us. And now I'm going to turn it over to Alex, who's going to lead us with Lecha Dodi.
Thank you, Ariela. And hi, Tammy. Nice to see you from Israel. I think before I start Lecha Dodi, I think this Shabbat is a very special Shabbat for two reasons. The first reason is that it gives me the occasion to thank Miga Gagonis, who is the Consul General of the USA here in Dubai, in name of the Jewish community and the AGJC, for all your help for the Jewish community. You were always here in case we needed something. So thank you for your assistance, and thank you for coming and speaking to us. The second thing that I want to tell is that it's a special Shabbat because it's the beginning of a new cycle. We are starting to read again Bereshit from the beginning of the Torah, and I wish that this new cycle, Bereshit, is a new beginning for a lot of us, and may we have a very fruitful year, and maybe continue to meet each other on this forum every Friday. It's a pleasure for me and all the people involved. Lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Shamo v'zacho b'dibur echad ishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem ol tiferet ve'letihila. Lecha dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קום יצאי מתוך אפיך, רב לך שבט בימי הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תעריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Thank you so much, Alex. And now over to Mark Sievers, who's going to introduce today's speaker.
Shabbat shalom to everyone, and thanks, Ariella. It's my great pleasure to introduce Megan Grigonis, our very distinguished United States Consul General in Dubai. Megan has had a stellar career in the Foreign Service, and Dubai, I think, is an appropriate next step for her. She is very much focused on trade and investment, but she is also a big advocate of people-to-people exchanges and engagement with people across the board. I can say personally that our AJC office and our AJC mission have benefited greatly from her support, and I know the Jewish community in Dubai holds her in very high regard and greatly appreciates her interest in the development of our community. So without further ado, Megan.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ambassador Sievers, Mark, for that very kind introduction. And it's a great pleasure to have you to continue to be a colleague and with us here in the region. It's a real honor for me to join you today for the Pre-Shabbat Zoom. I'm just delighted to see the Jewish community, and a warm hello to all of you in the United States as well. It's a real pleasure to see you in the region and beyond, united through this digital platform. I would also like to thank Alex for inviting me to speak. I'm really glad that we were able to get this scheduled. It's just such a pleasure to be here. And I would like to recognize Ambassador Nunu. I know that she's traveling, and Rabbi Abadi, who I see is on the line. Thanks to both of them for their leadership, especially important now as the community grows in the region. And thank you also to everyone listening in tonight for all of the important work that you do in supporting Jewish life here in the UAE and across the Gulf region. This is an exciting time for us all. Of course, everyone on this call has tracked the development of the Abraham Accords, which recently passed the 2-year mark. The tangible results of the agreement are clear. Relationships are blossoming, tourism is thriving, In fact, direct flights are ferrying sizable numbers of Israeli tourists around the region and vice versa. The Jewish community here is growing. Mazel tov. While many were hoping for immediate trade results, I have to say that after 2 years, UAE-Israel trade is now booming. Bilateral trade reached $1.4 billion in the first 7 months of 2022, already surpassing last year's $1.2 billion total. The two sides have signed more than 20 bilateral agreements over the last 11 months. Israel and the UAE established a joint $100 million R&D fund, and the UAE backed a $1.1 billion investment in Israeli natural gas extraction and a joint UAE-Israel high-tech zone. In May, Israel and the UAE signed a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. The deal lowers tariffs on traded goods and aims to boost trade to $10 billion within 5 years. It was the first free trade deal Israel has ever made with an Arab state, and it covers 96% of trade between the two countries. Tourism, as I mentioned, really is thriving. Upwards of 450,000 Israelis have visited the UAE during the past 2 years via several dozen direct flights weekly on multiple carriers. The potential here, especially now that there are kosher options, is significant. You might be wondering why the United States is so focused on the business side of the accords. The answer is simple. Supporting the growing Israeli-UAE relationship and the prosperity and security that it brings helps promote security and prosperity in a region that needs it. With this priority in mind, we have worked to expand the circle of peace between Israel and other countries in the Middle East and beyond through a number of programs, efforts, and initiatives. Now we are seeing the Abraham Accords usher in new regional gatherings and groupings and opportunities. And I'd like to take a minute or two to just mention these important developments. Project Prosperity, a regional clean energy and water cooperation agreement between Israel and Jordan with Emirati and US backing and investment, was signed in November 2021. This agreement will help the partner nations, Jordan, Israel, and the UAE, meet the goals of the Paris Agreement, reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the region, and provide a new source of fresh water. And it's a model for future partnerships in the region. The Negev Summit that took place in March, hosted by Israeli Foreign Minister Lapid and attended by US Secretary of State Blinken and his counterparts from Bahrain, Egypt, Morocco, and the UAE, was an unprecedented gathering of Israel's oldest and newest Arab partners. It was also a rousing success, where the ministers agreed to keep it going. In June, the Negev Forum Steering Committee announced the formation of 6 working groups that will meet regularly to address the most pressing shared challenges: regional security, clean energy, food and water security, health, tourism, and education and coexistence. And let's not forget about culture. In March, our ambassador to Israel, Thomas Nides, led a delegation of ministers of sport and/or culture from Israel, Morocco, and Bahrain to the Abraham Accords Festival and Games. The event featured a world-class friendly level soccer match held at Expo 2020 Dubai. The ministers signed a formal agreement to bolster additional cultural cooperation, something we can all look forward to. With regard to the business triangle between the United States, Dubai, and Israel, there are some significant opportunities. On the US side, we are seeing new concepts for doing business. US representatives visit Israel regularly, and now they are continuing their trade missions here in the UAE. For example, last month, our US mission in the UAE supported a trade delegation led by the governor of the state of Utah, consisting of representatives from both government and industry. The delegation visited Israel, then traveled to the UAE, specifically to build on the Abraham Accords and to cultivate business opportunities. We look forward to hosting a similar delegation from the state of Missouri next month, again, visiting both Israel and the UAE. And perhaps the most exciting new opportunity for us here has a funny name, and that's I2U2, Israel, India, UAE, United States. Heads of government of Israel, India, the UAE, and the United States convened for the first leaders meeting of this I2U2 group on July 14th. The idea is to harness the entrepreneurial spirit. That's what these countries have in common, to tackle common challenges. There's a particular focus on joint investments and new initiatives in water, energy, transportation, space, health, and food security. The I2U2 group intends to mobilize private sector capital and expertise to modernize infrastructure, advance low carbon development pathways for our industries, improve public health and access to vaccines, advance physical connectivity between countries in the Middle East, jointly develop new solutions for waste treatment, explore joint financing opportunities, connect our startups to I2U2 investments, and promote the development of critical emerging and green technologies, all while ensuring near and long-term food and energy security. These are all critical priorities and all amazing opportunities for us. This is an initiative that builds on the Abraham Accords, promotes economic cooperation in the Middle East and South Asia, and encourages sustainable investment among the I2U2 partners. These new concepts are opportunities, and by no means are they limitations. There are new global challenges that require innovation, cooperation, and know-how. These are the key elements in this triangle between Israel, the UAE, and the United States. Innovation, cooperation, and know-how can help us advance together sustainability initiatives, scientific and technological innovation, or drive development through STEM education. The consulate I lead in Dubai has been very focused on championing American innovation, which is and always has been at the heart of advanced technologies and solutions offered by our companies and service providers. As we look to key challenges of the future, we know that US companies and educational institutions are poised to present solutions. Our companies have committed tremendous resources and talent in the UAE, where we have partnered across strategic industry sectors such as IT, telecommunications, transportation, space, healthcare, and agriculture. The US presence here has been one of partnership. Our partnerships are strong and growing in emerging fields like artificial intelligence, autonomous transport, and the metaverse. And these are areas that present opportunities for the US, UAE, Israel business triangle. Sustainability is just one of countless areas that we could tackle together. The MENA region is taking center stage for global leadership on climate, with Egypt and then the UAE hosting back-to-back climate talks this year and next. The UAE's support for public-private partnerships, climate investments, and green business models present an opportunity to promote collaborative efforts and innovations to tackle shared global challenges. As President Biden noted alongside Prime Minister Lapid last July in Jerusalem, we'll continue building on the Abraham Accords because they deepen Israel's integration into the broader region and establish lasting ties for business, cooperation, and tourism. And now we have an opportunity to build on the Accords right here in the UAE, to leverage I2U2, and to look to build innovative partnerships within this Israel-Dubai-United States triangle to bring prosperity and stability to our countries, to the region, and far beyond. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights with us. And before we move on to the next part of the program, I do want to thank Ted Deutsch for joining us, the new CEO of the AGJC, obviously dear friends of ours. It's truly an honor for us to have you on with us today, and we just wanted to wish you a warm welcome from the GCC.
Thanks so much. Great to be with you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And now we'll turn over to Rabbi Abadi to give his weekly Dvar Torah.
Thank you, Ariella, and thank you, Council Gorgonis, of being with us and giving us such a informative and exhilarating and really very positive information and report. We are looking forward to seeing all those plans and all those initiatives continue to take place and even get better and better in this region. And thank you very much for welcoming me into your home several weeks ago. It was really a pleasure to be there. And thank you for all your help to the community that we have. I'm sure many of us have heard, well, maybe not many of us, but most of us maybe, the song, there was an old man called Michael Finnegan. The song is for little children that says, there was an old man named Michael Finnegan. He grew whiskers and something chin again, and the song ends with begin again, and the song's repeated again and again and again until a person has no more breath to sing it. Well, I guess the name of the game is when you finish one cycle, you begin again. And that's what it is. You begin again and you begin again. And this Shabbat, as Alex mentioned, we begin again. We begin again the Torah reading cycle. And it's Bereshit is the beginning. In the beginning, Genesis. We completed the Torah reading cycle, the yearly Torah reading cycle, and we'll begin again. And beginning again give us a lot of opportunities, an opportunity to actually begin again, to reflect again, to commit ourselves again, to look at the past and see or say, what is it that I did wrong and I could improve it? And what is it that I did good and I can even improve that one? And so that's the opportunity of beginning again. But it's not just an opportunity to begin again, like in any cycle. It is also to be able to focus on what this beginning means to us. The bottom line is, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. The Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the Bible, begins with one sentence. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. And I think that is the statement that we ought to focus and refocus again if we did not do it in this past year. And then again, of course, the story of creation, the story of civilization and humankind. But I think to many of us, we may forget that first sentence, that indeed heaven and earth, the universe, was created by a supreme being, by God. And he set it in motion and he gave it its rules, its physical laws, its thermodynamic laws, its laws of relativity. And so once we have that internalized, then we realize that there is a supreme being that is watching over us, that is watching over humanity, that is watching upon our actions. And I think if we focus on that sentence, that God created the universe and the world, and therefore we are all his children, then maybe this new year will be a different year than the previous one. When we recognize that our actions are being watched, that our interactions are also being watched and being seen, and when we realize that any other human on this earth is just a brother or a sister of ours, being that they are the children of the same God, then maybe things will change in this world. Maybe there will be less conflict, there will be less wars, there will be less animosity, and there will be also less attempt to cause harm to other individuals, people, nations, nationalities, religions, etc. I think that's what we ought to do this Shabbat as we begin again the reading of the Torah with the creation of heaven and earth, Adam and Eve, his wife, Adam and Hava, and their children, and the story of how everything all began, we'll come to the realization that we all came from the same source, that we all have one father and one mother, and it's the same. And therefore, there should be no conflicts, there should be no wars, and there should be no attempt at the throats of each other, so to speak. Let us hope that indeed this beginning will be a different beginning than previous ones. And let us hope that we focus very well on what we read, and hopefully we'll apply it into our lives. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Abadi, for that inspiring message as we kick off the first Shabbat of the year. And now over to Alex, who will read this week's Parsha, and then we'll turn to Rick for the English translation.
ויאמר אלוהים נעשה אדם בצלמנו כדמותנו וירדו בדגת הים ובעוף השמיים ובבהמה ובכל הארץ ובכל הרמס הרומס על הארץ ויברא אלוהים את האדם בצלמו בצלם אלוהים ברא אותו זכר ונקבה ברא אותם ויברך אותם אלוהים ויאמר להם אלוהים קחו רבו ומילאו את הארץ וכבשוה ורדו בדגת הים ובעוף השמיים ובכל חיה הרומסת על הארץ ויאמר אלוהים הנה נתתי לכם את כל עשב זורע זרע אשר על פני כל הארץ ואת כל העץ אשר בו פרי עץ זורע זרע לכם יהיה לאוכלה ולכל חיית הארץ ולכל עוף השמיים ולכל רומס על הארץ אשר בו נפש חיה את כל ירק עשב לאוכלה ויהי כן וירא אלוהים את כל אשר עשה והנה טוב מאוד וירא ויבוקר יום השישי.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Ariella, for giving me the opportunity to read this important beginning passage. God made wild beasts of every kind and cattle of every kind and all kinds of creeping things of the earth. And God saw that this was good. And God said, let us make humankind in our image, after our likeness. They shall rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the cattle, the whole earth, and all the creeping things that creep on earth. And God created humankind in the divine image, creating it in the image of God, creating them male and female. God blessed them, and God said to them, be fertile and increase, fill the earth and master it, and rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and all the living things that creep on earth. God said, see, I give you every seed-bearing plant that is upon all the earth, and every tree that is seed-bearing fruit. They shall be yours for food. And to all the animals on land, to all the birds of the sky, and to everything that creeps on earth, in which there is the breath of life, I give all the green plants for food. And it was so.
Thank you so much, Rick. And now we'll turn it over to Riva, who is going to read the prayer for peace.
Shabbat Shalom from Abu Dhabi. It's always nice to end my weeks on this call, and it's my honor today to read the prayer for peace, which has been adapted from Rabbi Nachman ben Fega. Lord of peace, divine ruler, to whom peace belongs, master of peace, creator of all things, may it be your will to put an end to war and bloodshed on earth, and to spread a great and wonderful peace all over the world. Help us and save us all, and let us cling tightly to the virtue of peace. Let there be a truly great peace between every person and their fellow, and let there be no discord between people, even in their hearts. Let us never shame any person on earth, great or small. May it be granted unto us to fulfill thy commandment, to love thy neighbor as thyself, with all our hearts and souls and bodies and possessions. God, who is peace, bless us with peace.
Thank you so much, Riva. And now we'll turn to Eric for the prayer for the GCC.
May he who gives salvation to kings and dominion to princes, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, who delivers his servant David from the evil sword, who makes a way in the sea and a path through the mighty waters, bless and protect, guard and help, exalt, magnify, and uplift His Majesty, the King of Saudi Arabia, His Majesty, the King of Bahrain, His Majesty, the Sultan of Oman, His Highness, the President of the UAE, His Highness, the Emir of Kuwait, His Highness, the Emir of Qatar, and all their crown princes. And may the Supreme King of Kings, in his mercy, put a spirit of wisdom and understanding into their hearts and the hearts of all their counselors and officials to deal kindly with us, the house of Jacob, and all the people of this land. Be their shelter and stronghold, and let them not falter. In their days and in hours, may these lands be blessed with stability, prosperity, and peace. May this be his will, and let us all say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Eric. And then we'll turn it to Avi for Shalom Aleichem, and then we just have a quick message right after that. So Avi, take it away.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashavet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Thank you so much, Avi. And we hope you'll all join us next week. We actually have Efrat who's with us today, who's going to be our presenter next week. We're all very, very excited. We have a couple of weeks of really, really amazing programming coming up. So please join us again, same time, same place next week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Good
Shalom.
Shabbos. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.